Hey y'all, welcome back. Today I'm going to be sharing how I created these DIY Ryan Destiny inspired braids. This style has been on my Pinterest board for a while, so I wanted to take a stab at trying to recreate this look and put my own twist on it. So as you guys can see, she has a lot of little flyaways or curly wavy tendrils in her hair. I opted to go with a little bit more curly of an option, but you can use straight pieces or you can use wavy as well. It's totally up to you depending on the look you want. I kind of wanted to be inspired by her braids, but also have a bit of my own style to it as well. So as you can see, we are jumping right in. I've pretty much finished about most of my hair at this point, and I'm towards the final part of the process. Now for me, I will link a couple of videos that I found to be very helpful for one, learning how to do knotless braids yourself, no matter whether you want to do these braids or another type of braid, and also a tutorial on this specific style of braid, the more boho looking braids. Now for me, I really like knotless braids to be very lightweight. I know people have their own methods to this style, but for me, I really like to keep them super light. I only use just over 1 pack of braiding hair to do my entire head, and my braids are so light because of that. So I'm going to show you guys how I do that. Now the thing about her braids, Ryan Destiny that is, who has inspired this style, is that I noticed her braids were on the smaller side. They were parted very neatly, and they kind of stayed small and thin throughout the entirety of her head, which made this process a lot more tedious. Now to get the look I'm going for and to also not go over using more than 1 pack of braiding hair, that requires me really splitting those bundles of braiding hair up into really small sections. As y'all can see, I'm feeding in small amounts of hair, very thin little pieces, and then braiding down. So there's a lot of really great tutorials that probably will give you a better angle on this part of the process, but essentially just what I want y'all to get from this is that you want to use small pieces of hair. It is easier to do bigger sections, but to me it makes them look more bulky, and it will make it look obvious where you started feeding in the hair. If you want it to really look seamless, even if you're more of a beginner braider, using small pieces is the biggest tip. It takes more time, so I went ahead, since I knew I was going to do this style, and sectioned as many bundles as I could in preparation for it. They have a lot of like little spindle racks and stuff you can use to put the hair on, but you want to make sure you separate and use really tiny sections of hair when adding in the hair. Now for the little tendrils or curls or wavy pieces or straight pieces, whatever you decide to add that you're going to be leaving out of the hair, you want to go ahead. In my instance, I used wefted hair and I just cut it off of a weft. I'm going to link a video that does a better job explaining what I'm describing, but basically I'm going to be adding in some like little curly pieces that are from wefted hair. I've just cut it off of a weft or track of hair, and I'm going to be adding those in. Here's one of those pieces. Now I found that towards the back I could use thicker pieces of these, but towards the front, to really give it a really ethereal and nice natural look, I needed to make these pieces super small. So you're going to feed those in, and the thing is, you're leaving one side of the hair you're adding in out so that it can kind of be that little wispy add to the braid, but you want to make sure that you have a good bit of the other side that you're feeding in and braided in. Otherwise this little piece of hair will fly right on out your braid, and you don't want to be running around here shedding hair. Like, that's embarrassing. Trust me, been there, done that. So that's another tip. As you can see, I'm making sure a good bit of that hair is into the braid, and then I'm braiding that down. So you want to probably put maybe about 2 inches at the minimum of that hair into the braid and braid it down securely so that you can secure these little tendrils of hair into the braid for this look. And you would be doing this method whether you're going to be using a straighter piece of hair or more of a curly piece of hair like I'm using. Now I'm also using Shine and Jam. That's really good. I go down the length of my braids with that. I feel like it helps the braids have a nice sheen to them, also keeps them soft. And here's what it's looking like now that those are added in. Now to make sure this style looks really just natural, I varied how many pieces of hair I left out of each braid. For some braids I did just 1, for some braids I did 3, for some braids I did 2. You don't want it to look super uniform, at least I didn't. If that's your preference, do you. But to me, I really wanted it to kind of have that kind of Lisa Bonet, really bohemian vibe, very natural, effortless, but we know it took some effort. That's the vibe I'm going for, so I really wanted to vary it as much as possible. Alright, so this is what the finished product looks like. I'm really happy with how it turned out, and for the ends I wanted to keep that look of the curls going, and I just used a really large jumbo perm rod and then dipped my hair to seal everything, as opposed to some of the other techniques I saw. If you guys have any questions, be sure to leave them below, and thanks for watching.